In July 2025, Brazil international and former star man of Ajax Amsterdam, Antony, was designated a bomb squad member by Ruben Amorim, a group of first-team players who were explicitly excluded from first-team activities. For everyone in the footballing community, it was clear to see then United manager Ruben Amorim had deemed the club's second most expensive purchase as far as players are concerned as surplus to requirements, thus relegating him to a bomb squad member. This was an inevitable consequence of poor performances, unfortunate circumstances, incompatible tactical arrangements, and a detrimental psychological state. He was criticized, scrutinized, mocked, and ridiculed. This was until he went to Seville. First impressing out on loan, earning him a permanent residence, Antony is now not only the face of Real Betis, but one of the faces of La Liga as a whole. He has completely turned his career around to the point at which we can now designate his time at Manchester United as a career hiccup. His development has continued and his destiny is now being fulfilled. Antonio Del Triana is now an adopted son of Seville and has become so good that the Betis captain joked about kidnapping him if his loan move was not made permanent. What happened? What inspired this sudden rejuvenation? This is the resurgence of Antony. Antony Mateus dos Santos grew up in Osasco, a suburb of Sao Paulo, in a favela known as Inferninho. Translation: Little Hell. His upbringing was characterized by extreme poverty and proximity to danger. He has frequently spoken about seeing drug dealers and even unalive bodies on his walk to school. He developed his signature flair style playing street football against adults and gangsters. I learned all the tricks from the legends Ronaldinho, Neymar, Cristiano. I used to watch them on YouTube thanks to my uncle Toniolo. He is not my blood uncle. He was our next door neighbor, but he treated me like family. When I was little, he used to let me steal his Wi-Fi so I could go on YouTube and get my football education. He even gave me my first video game. If Toniolo had 2 loaves of bread, it was 1 for him, the extra was for us. This is what people don't understand about the favela. For every 1 person doing bad, there's 2 doing good. At a young age, Antony famously promised his mother he would become a professional and buy her a red Range Rover, a goal he eventually achieved. I always say that I grew up in the wrong place, but with the right people. When I was 8 years old, I was playing in the square when the first angel crossed my path. This older guy was watching me doing my tricks against the gangsters like a crazy bastard. He turned to the other people watching. Who is the little kid? The kid? Antony. It was director of Grêmio Barueri. He gave me my chance to leave the slum and play for their futsal team, so I started dreaming. I remember one day I was walking with my mom when I saw this cold red car driving through our neighborhood. It was a Range Rover, but to me, it was like seeing a Ferrari. Everyone was looking at it. I turned to my mom and said, one day when I'm a footballer, I'm going to buy that car. She laughed. Of course, I was dead serious. I said, don't worry. After a while, I'll let you drive it. Antony joined the Sao Paulo Academy at the age of 8 but faced several hurdles before reaching the first team. If you talk to the media, they always ask you about your dreams, your Champions League, the World Cup, the Ballon d'Or. Those are not dreams, those are goals. My only dream was to take my parents out of the favela. There was no plan B. I was going to make it or die trying. At 14, I got my chance at Sao Paulo FC. Every day after school, I would travel to the academy on an empty stomach. Sometimes, if it was a good day, my teammates and I would pool our money together to buy a cookie for the bus ride back home. I did not have to pretend to be hungry for motivation. The hunger was real. He was nearly released from the academy 3 times because of his slight height stature. However, his technical ability convinced coaches to keep him. Inside of me, there was an intensity, maybe you should say an anger. I had some problems with my emotion. 3 different times, I was nearly dismissed from the club. I was on the list to be released, and 3 different times, someone at the club stuck up for me. They begged to keep me on. It was God's plan. I was so skinny, but I always played with blood in my eyes. This is a kind of intensity that comes from the streets. You cannot fake it. People think I'm lying when I tell them this, but even after I made my professional debut for Sao Paulo, I was still living in the favela. No, this is the truth. At 18, I was still sleeping in the bed with my dad. It was either that or the couch. We had no other choice. Man, even in 2019 when I scored the goal against Corinthians in the Paulista final, I was right back in the neighborhood that night. People were pointing at me on the street. I just saw you on TV. What are you doing here? Brother, I live here. Everyone laughed. They did not believe it. He made his senior debut in 2018 By 2019, he was a regular starter, known for his elastico and nutmeg tricks, finishing his time at the club with 6 goals and 6 assists in 52 appearances. 1 year later, I was playing at Ajax, playing in the Champions League. That's how fast things changed. I not only had my own bed, but the red Range Rover was in my mother's driveway. I told her, "You see, I told you that I would conquer, and I conquered." When I told her that when I was 10, she laughed. Now, when I remind her, she cries. I went from the slums to Ajax to Manchester United in 3 years. Ajax signed Antony in July 2020 for an initial €15 million to replace Hakim Ziyech. Under Erik ten Hag, Antony evolved from a raw dribbler into a clinical European winger. Antony excelled in the 2021-22 Champions League group stages, where he provided 5 assists and 2 goals in just 5 games, helping Ajax to become the first Dutch club to win all 6 group matches. He won back-to-back Eredivisie titles 2020-21 and 2021-22 and the KNVB Cup in 2021. Across 82 games for Ajax, he recorded 24 goals and 22 assists. During this period, Antony also became a star for Brazil. He played a pivotal role in Brazil, winning the gold medal at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, providing the assist for the winning goal in the final against Spain. He made his senior debut in October 2021, scoring just 15 minutes after coming off the bench against Venezuela. Erik ten Hag was instrumental in refining Antony's game, teaching him when to use his skills for productivity rather than just showmanship. This relationship was a primary driver for Manchester United's decision to pay €95 million for him in August 2022. His entry into Manchester United didn't come at the smoothest period of the club. The euphoria of the early parts of the 2021-22 season had long faded into thin air as bridges burned. Cristiano Ronaldo's return didn't pan out the way many hoped. Solskjaer's Manchester United career didn't end as he would have hoped. One club legend got the axe, briefly replaced by sporting director Ralf Rangnick before the baton eventually fell to Erik ten Hag. Antony, having impressed so greatly at Ajax, was made to follow the Dutchman. Antony was a priority signing for new manager Erik ten Hag. The pair had worked together at Ajax, and the pursuit has lasted all summer. Ajax, it was claimed, had played hardball, but Antony was as keen for the deal to go through as United were. He was high on the scouting radar before ten Hag arrived, had a lot of technical ability and a winning mentality. United pushed and eventually got their man. He certainly had been on the radar before ten Hag arrived. His predecessor, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was told about him. The Norwegian would have accepted him, but his advice was not to pay more than £30 million. £95 million. This transfer fee made him the second most expensive transfer the Red Devils ever made. He was expected to play a key role in reviving Manchester United as they painfully had to gather what remained of their dashed hope and dreams into the new season. However, his hope to shine as brightly as the stage light of the Theatre of Dreams was slowly dashed as the minutes went by. It all started well though. He became first United player in 50 years to score in their first 3 league appearances. He played 44 matches, scoring 8 goals and providing 3 assists, and started in the final of their victorious Carabao Cup campaign in 2022-23. In the following campaign, he only started 17 out of his 38 matches played and was an unused sub in their FA Cup final win against Manchester City. By the time he made his loan move to Real Betis, Antony could boast of no Premier League starts so far that season. He went from promising Brazilian winger at Ajax to flop at Manchester United. Playing at Manchester United will always be daunting for anyone. You're under immense scrutiny. Everyone watches the players, especially those with the bigger price tags, like a hawk. The patience for Ten Hag and his players were there in the beginning as the fans wanted to give Ten Hag's flower more time to bloom. He steadied the ship and made improvements to the squad, one which was Antony. Mistakes were mostly forgiven, but by the time the old demons came back, rearing its ugly head, the scrutiny became worse. 18 months after his arrival, at the point where he had not scored or created a goal for 9 months, and it was becoming obvious to many observers, Antony may be well short of the standards Manchester United required. Ten Hag was still offering his support. He can do so much better, he said in a press conference on 12 January 2024. His end product at Ajax was very high. He should return to those levels. He's capable of doing it. Within his first year at the club, many began pointing out flaws in his game. Tactically, Antony became an easy target for Premier League defenders. While his debut goal against Arsenal provided a false dawn, his game quickly became a one-dimensional loop. The lack of consistent overlapping right backs due to Aaron Wan-Bissaka's defensive nature and Diego Dalot's shifting role meant Antony was often 1-on-2 against defenders. Without support, his flair turned into desperation. He became very predictable. Every defender in the league knew that when he had the ball at the wing, he would cut inside on his left foot. Hence, he found himself often bullied by defenders. Also, in a league where parts of its media already possesses a phobia for showmanship, Antony's 360-degree spin, which was seen as an exhibition of his confidence at Ajax, was immensely ridiculed. Pundits labeled it quote-unquote clowning and disrespectful, especially when it was followed by a safe backward pass rather than a goal-scoring opportunity. His struggles even got memed online, fans sarcastically referring to him as the GOAT. All this shattered his confidence, leading to a visible change in his body language. Slumped shoulders, constant frustration with teammates, and a fear of taking on defenders. Although he was part of a struggling team, he was expected, especially due to his price tag, to be one of the bright lights. 12 goals and 5 assists in 96 matches played for United is very poor. Done with the statistics side of things, and let's look at the human side. Antony was not in the best of places psychologically for a large chunk of his time there. In January 2024, Ten Hag said that Antony's form was impacted by off-field issues. What were they? He was accused of DA by 3 women, allegations which he denies. He spoke to Greater Manchester Police voluntarily and was not arrested or charged in either the UK or his home country Brazil. The player revealed that the unhappiness during this period affected his family life. I was at home not having the strength to even play with my son, going days without eating, staying locked in my room. It was very complicated, but thank God, with the help of my family and mainly with the help of God, I managed to get ahead and I'm very happy here. The final nail in the coffin was the arrival of manager Ruben Amorim in November 2024. Amorim's 3-4-3 system left no room for a traditional flair-heavy winger like Antony. He was relegated to the bomb squad, training with reserves, a public humiliation that signaled the end of his English journey. When he was finally shipped to Real Betis on loan in January 2025, subsequent explosion in La Liga suggests that the horrible time at United was a failure of environment, not just ability. He left Manchester as a broken man. He arrived in Seville as a student ready to learn again. As it turned out, all Antony needed was a change in environment. By the application of the simplest things, Real Betis managed to get the best out of him. For starters, he no longer found himself isolated at the wing as Manuel Pellegrini's system did not operate as such. Pellegrini moved Antony away from the touchline. In the 2025-26 season, Antony has frequently operated as an inverted playmaker, drifting into central pockets to link up with Isco and Pablo Fornals. By operating closer to the goal and having overlapping support from attacking fullbacks, he is no longer forced into one-on-2 situations. He has effectively achieved more in one calendar year at Betis than he did in nearly 3 seasons at Manchester United. In the first half of the 2025-26 La Liga season, Antony has already notched 5 goals and 3 assists in just 14 matches. His performances in big games has been particularly noteworthy, including a sensational brace against Villarreal in October 2025 and a crucial goal against Barcelona in December. One of, if not the biggest reasons for his resurgence is that he was instantly embraced by the Betis fans. Dubbed Antonio de Triana by the local supporters, Antony was given a psychological license to spin. Instead of being mocked for his tricks, they were celebrated as art. Antony is already a hero in Betis, said Spain football expert and BBC sport columnist William Balag. They love a player that's a bit different, or one that has struggled and finds happiness in Seville. Seville is a place for bullfighters. They like the bullfighter that goes off script and does things his own way, and Antony is that kind of player, so they absolutely love him. He has been effective and taken the team to another level. Betis have given the man love and confidence, played him in the right position and played him all the time. He has been absolutely brilliant and he has been emotional. We saw a very cold guy at United. Since he has gone to Betis and things have been working, we've seen him cry, we've seen him laugh, and Betis fans love that. Antony now plays like a warrior in Betis, even increasing his defensive productivity. He has been given a reason to fight for something, which is exactly what he is doing. Antony was so good by the end of his loan spell that the Betis captain Isco, another player who struggled at a bigger club before finally finding peace and happiness in Seville, joked that they will kidnap him if his move to the club wasn't made permanent. They eventually got their wish though, Antony later signing for the club on a permanent basis for 22 million euros. Since then he hasn't looked back. He became one of the best players in the club and is now one of the poster boys of the league. People went from sarcastically calling him the GOAT to saying it endearingly.